All right, welcome everyone. My name is Andy, and today I wanted to show you how you can take a regular packing slip from TCGPlayer like this and turn it into something like this, which includes an intelligent barcode on the label that can be printed out with a label printer for better tracking for your TCGPlayer orders. Most orders that go through TCGPlayer, most of the time they're going to be like under the $50 range. At least that's the case for me. I think that's the case for most sellers. And what I think a lot of people find is that given that there's no tracking for orders under $50, if that's the way you choose to do it, you tend to get customers that are going to say, hey, I haven't received my order, where is it? Or, hey, do you have any tracking that you can send to me on your order? And they're just wanting more visibility. They're wanting confirmation that, they are going to get their order. And then there's I think it's a rare case, but there are cases that people report orders not arriving even when maybe they did. So I think there is a good use case for what we call an intelligent mail barcode, which looks like this. And basically this would, usually how I do it is I create a label like this, I cut off the top. This part with the address and the intelligent mail barcode will go on the front of your plain white envelope. And then that will enable tracking. So before we get into how we do that, I just wanted to say kind of go over what an intelligent mail barcode does, and what are the pros and cons of it. What problems can it solve? What doesn't it do? So let's start with the cons. So it does not provide true delivery confirmation. That's an important part to understand. Is it's not going to tell you exactly when the order actually gets into the customer's mailbox. That might seem like a big con, but again, this is a free service that USPS provides. If you want full delivery confirmation, you do have to pay the regular $5 to $6 tracking that you might get off like Pirate Ship or something like that, or Shippo. But for this type of tracking, for an intelligent mail barcode, it's intended to be used by businesses that are sending out a lot of mail, and they just want better visibility on how much is going out, how much is moving through the system correctly, how many are not being sent correctly. So it's not really designed for a true delivery confirmation. Now, I still think it's worth using it, even though you don't get that benefit, but let's move on. So the other thing is it's not 100% accurate. And what I mean by that is sometimes USPS misses scans. So how the intelligent mail barcodes work is anytime your letter arrives at a USPS facility, it should be getting scanned, right? So it gets scanned by their machines or by their sorters or whatever. And that's the scan events is what we're going to be able to see and tap into in order to, get some sort of visibility on these orders. So, because it's a free service, and it's done by these machines and they're moving very quickly, sometimes, these machines miss the scan and you don't get a scan. I find that it's somewhere maybe between 97 and 98% accurate. But you don't get that 100% accuracy. And then the last con is TCGPlayer will not honor it as like proof that something was delivered. So if someone reports one of your orders and they say, hey, I never got this, I'd like a refund, you can send them, and usually this is the tactic that I do take, is I will send them the tracking from beardofkanto.com, which has the scan events on there, and it'll show them that it made it through the USPS system, and it might have made it to the destination city in their hometown or whatever, but it won't be able to show, because it doesn't show delivery confirmation. TCGPlayer doesn't honor it as delivery confirmation. So at the end of the day, if the buyer is just like, nope, I still didn't get it and I want my refund, you'll still have to do that. But let's look at the pros, because I think it's still worth putting this on every order under $50. So let's look at the pros. I think the first big thing is it just provides visibility to you and potentially your customer. Now, again, I only send these details of tracking events to the customer if they request it or if they're saying I didn't get it, right? So I don't send the tracking information out to them right away once an order goes out. I think sometimes it might just be confusing. They might say, well, this isn't a USPS thing, or this isn't they're used to looking at a certain link or tracking number on USPS's site, and it might be confusing for them to see this right away. So I think I only bring it out if I have to, kind of thing. But it does give you more visibility. It also gives a rough estimate of when the order will be delivered. I think that's a big pro here. You may not be able to see when it was actually put into the mailbox, but you can see when it has reached the destination city, because you'll get a scan event at a facility, a USPS facility in the destination location, and you can roughly estimate that it's going to hit their mailbox in like 1 to maybe 3 days after that. It kind of just depends on how quickly USPS moves, and they can be slow occasionally, but yeah, I think you can get at least better visibility on when that's going to be delivered. And then the other pro is it can be used if the buyer asks for tracking details on orders under $50. So I already kind of mentioned this, but yeah, if I have a customer that says, hey, where's my order? I didn't get it. Maybe it's still before the expected date, or maybe it's after the expected receive date. Either way, what I can do is I can go and look up their order and see what the tracking events look like, and see if it's moving through the system correctly. If there's any sort of issues moving through the system, you'll be able to see that potentially. But assuming everything's moving through the system, you can then provide that tracking data to them. And even though, again, it doesn't, TCGPlayer itself won't honor it as proof of delivery or anything like that, but the buyer's worries may be put at ease if you provide that tracking data and you say, hey, looks like it's moving through the system. I see it was at the destination sorting facility, on this date, so I would just give it another day or two, right? Like, that's the kind of, I think that's the big benefit that you can start to get from this is it kind of makes a better experience for you and your buyers, because you can provide this kind of data, and might even look more professional to your buyers that you have this data and you use a system like this. Lastly, I think it can. There's no way to prove this, but I think it can prevent buyers from falsely reporting non-delivery. And if you've been selling on TCGPlayer for any amount of time, you've probably encountered this, where a buyer says, "Hey, I didn't get my my order," and there's no way for you to prove this, but there's always a possibility that they did get the order, but they're just saying that in order to get a refund. Now, I always, this may be a topic for another video, but I always escalate the thread at that point, or the order, and just ask TCGPlayer, hey, does this buyer have like a history of falsely reporting non-delivery? Usually they don't, so that doesn't really go very far most of the time, but I do think if you have intelligent mail barcodes on your on all of your plain white envelopes, all your orders under $50, I do think it's going to at least reduce the amount of times that buyers report it as not being delivered, because they're going to see that, and they may not know what it does or how it works, but they're going to see there's some kind of tracking on there, and they're going to say, oh, it's not worth doing this, because they're going to pull up the tracking, and so I think that is one of the biggest benefits. And again, there's no way to prove how often that might happen or how much it might reduce that happening. But just psychologically, if you think about it, I feel like it should reduce that. Okay, so those are the pros and cons. Let's get into how we actually do this. So this is beardofkanto.com. You can make an account. It's completely free. This is my site. It's really a suite of tools that I call KantoTools. It's constantly being developed on. We're getting new updates just about every week. I strongly encourage you to join the Discord. You can just click right here, or it'll be in the video description as well. But join the Discord because there's a small but growing community of people that are making suggestions on how we can improve this. There's places where you can report bugs or get support, and just like-minded people as well that are all selling on TCGPlayer. So it could be a great place to join. But okay, so we have this nice little dashboard. I won't go too much into this because I want to focus on the label creator, which is where the intelligent barcodes will be added onto your labels, and then the shipment tracker, because this is where you can then track those those orders that did get barcodes on them. So let's go to the label creator, and we're going to stick with the packing slip mode. Return addresses for something else. We can go into that on a different video, but first we want to upload our packing slip. This is what you get from TCGPlayer. Just on your orders page, you can download packing slips. You can do multiple at a time, by the way. You don't need to just do one at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and just select my packing slip here. All right, great. We have that. We've got a couple different configurations that we can use, and there's a nice little preview on the right side. But combined, pretty simple. It's kind of what we saw in the beginning, where you got the address up top, intelligent mail barcode will go there, and then you got your order details at the bottom. You've got separated, where it kind of gives you two different ones, but these will it'll separate the actual order details and then the part with the address and the intelligent mail barcode. There's the label only if you don't want the order details, and then here's a windowed envelope, and this is like standard letter size, so it just uses like a regular printer. If you don't have a label printer, you can use this, but these other three are designed for a label printer. So I'm using combined, and I think most people are going to use that because it saves on labels, and it's just so easy to just cut the top off, put it on your letter, the bottom goes inside the envelope, stick a stamp on, done. Okay, so a couple other configurations. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I want to focus on the intelligent mail barcode for this video, but you can change size. You want to make sure, this is the important part, you want to make sure tracking is on. This will add it for any order under $50 in your packing slips. If it's a single page, and then there's some other nice features down here. You can add a custom message, a logo, QR code, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and click on Convert Label. Okay, so that creates our label, and you can see we have an intelligent mail barcode on there now. Fantastic. Okay, so now that we have those barcodes, or now that we created those labels, you'll ship that out, and then you want to start tracking them. You want to start seeing their progress, or you just want them to be somewhere so that if someone reports something, you can go and provide that information to the buyer, or just look it up yourself. So that's where we're going to go to the shipment tracker. So I'm just going to click here, and that's going to open up our shipment tracker. So as you can see, here's the two that we just created today. And you can see the status is pending because obviously there are no scan events because I haven't brought them to the post office. But this is my active account, so we're just going to go down and check. You can see some here are accepted. That means there was probably some initial scan, probably at the origin facility. and we can pull up a few of these. Let's look at one that I did. Let's see, this was a few days ago. We've got a couple that are in transit already. And then, yeah, here's ones that went out about 5 days ago, and looks like a bunch of them are already delivered. So you get that kind of, you can see these statuses. All of these statuses will get updated automatically, and when something's delivered, it'll give you a nice notification up here. You can also view the label again if you need to reprint it or something like that. But let's go ahead and just pull up. I'm going to pull up, here's one that's accepted, here's one that's in transit, and here's one that's delivered. Let's go ahead and just take a look at these, see what they look like. So here is an accepted one. You can see the label was essentially created. There was an initial scan at the origin processing facility. Yeah, so that's what that looks like, just once it gets that first scan. Then when it's in transit, you'll see that it's made it out of the origin location, and it looks like, I don't know where this one specifically is heading, but yeah, it's in Texas now. Cool, so it's in transit on its way to the destination. And then finally, here's one that was received. So you can see that destination sequence carrier sortation was hit. Yeah, so it hit the destination in, was that Pennsylvania? And again, the system will show it as delivered, but just know that this isn't a true delivery confirmation. This basically means, hey, it hit the destination location, the final destination sorting facility, and it's going to hit that customer's mailbox in, roughly 1 to 3 days. So this is what that looks like. This is the kind of visibility that you get. And I think it can really be helpful for you and your customers to have this kind of data, to be able to see how often or be able to see all your orders and see that they're making it through the system. And it's better than having no tracking for sure, but I think the tracking itself, there's a lot of great benefits to that. So yeah, going back to the dashboard here, I strongly recommend you join the site, and we'll go over other features in different videos. So I'll see you next time. Bye.